lens looks like it could be.
Puberty is bonkers.
That's the last thing I expected you to say. That.
I just walked by and just immediately looked right at your chest and kept walking, and I was like, okay. Fucking Puberty is Bonkers LLC. Sounds fucking awesome.
Yes, you can call me sheep. You can say I'm lazy. You can say I'm weak.
My girlfriend got a skateboard and she doesn't know how to ride a skateboard at all, but she wanted it because it looked pretty. So today we're gonna actually go out and try to maybe test out a little skateboard riding after this video, of course. How's it going, everybody? We're talking about lens focal length today, and before we jump into the video shoot that I had with a model where we did some behind the scenes, I'm gonna talk about the basics of these lenses. If you have no idea like how lenses work, how they work with cameras, or what to purchase, I hope that this gives you a better idea before you just jump in, get a bunch of equipment, and then think, oh, I just want to shoot really good photos, and you don't really know how to use each type of lens and what you might want to pair for a lens set. Back in the day, cameras were made on a 35mm sensor. That's what a full frame camera is. There's also a crop sensor or a ACP sensors that are actually cropped down into being more like a 24mm, which changes the output of what you see through your lens. So why is this part important? Just use this as an example. This is a 24mm lens. So having a 24mm doesn't mean that the lens itself is 24mm. It means where the light hits to where it hits the sensor is approximately 24mm with a full frame camera. Full frame camera will have a true depiction of how big a lens is because it's capturing the full image of the camera and it's not cropping anything in. A crop sensor typically might be a 24mm sensor, and that is cropping the image down, which means your lens focal length is not a true lens focal length. A Canon crop, I believe, is a 1.5, and Nikon might be a 1.6. I might have had those backwards, but it's cropping down what you see from the lens into the camera, which is what you're gonna be able to see on the back end. So if this was a crop censored camera, when you attach a 35mm, this will be the example that fits onto this camera with an adapter, we do not have a 35mm anymore. You're timesing the length of this by a 1.5 crop value, which will give you 52.5mm. You say, oh, I love a really wide lens and a really wide shot. Let me buy a crop sensor camera and get a 24mm. You're not really gonna be having a 24mm. Here's one of the pictures I have where I shot this with the 35mm prime right at the beginning of the shoot, and this is what the crop factor would look like approximately with the same lens. It will not look exactly the same, so you have to keep that in mind. There are three primary things that will be affected with the lens focal length, so let's talk about the first one, which is perspective. Perspective, simply put, is how you see the image, what you see in the image. Hey, you shoot with a wide lens here, you can see the room behind me, you can see all of the detail around me, and that's really how that works with a wider lens, where the perspective of, if you have a closer lens, you know, it's gonna be punched into my face, and the perspective would be just pretty much right here if I shot with anything above maybe like a 50mm. The second part of this is called compression, which happens when you extend the focal length and it becomes a lot more punched into the subject. And instead of perspective being the whole part of the image, think of compression as what we're talking about with just the subject. The subject might look closer to a person and the background might look closer when you extend the focal length. Telephoto lens, the person is gonna be able to be punched in, you're gonna stand really far away, and parts of the background are gonna look like they're closer, and there'll be less of the background that you will see. That is called compression within the image. The last part of this is depth, which typically you would just call the blurriness of the background. That's really like a layman's terms to say this, but depth is gonna be affected by the length of the lens as well as the f-stop. So those work together to create the blurry background. When you are able to punch into one of the subjects, stand really far away, you're gonna distort the background and have it more blurry. If you have a camera lens that's high quality, you can drop the f-stop down to like a 1.4, it's gonna add to that even more. So we have really sharp pinpoint type of focus on the subject and a blurry background, which is pretty ideal for a lot of headshots. Whew, that is more science than I even need to go into with camera and creativity. But now let's jump into the lenses that I have and how we're gonna use these for a behind the scenes video.
So today we're shooting with my friend Emma, who is more like my girlfriend's friend, but we're friends.
Yeah.
We're acquaintances.
We're cool.
We talked in the car once. That qualifies us. Everything I discussed about the focal length, I'm gonna do like a little test as we shoot her, and I told her to pick whatever she wanted to wear. She is a dancer and a model, so this will be like easy on her. This will be more complicated on me to make sure I portray this the right way on exactly what you use with your cameras, exactly what you use with your lenses. We're on a bridge, so hopefully I can kind of show the 3 primary things that change with the lens focal length. It's gonna show.
It's great.
It's gonna show
It's
everything.
practically effective.
Yeah, it's gonna show like how things come in with the lenses. I'll go through each of the lenses and then we'll do a test at the end. So if you stay till the end of the video, you'll see that we do a test on how it changes facial structures to use close focal length lenses versus far away and telephoto lens. If you can hear any of this. I really wonder if you can hear this.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
To test out a prime lens first, we're gonna use a prime 35 that I sold to Andy. 35 by Sigma, and then we'll kind of go through the lenses that I have and go through all of the focal lengths while we shoot. So it's gonna kind of be just hanging out and shooting. That's pretty much what we're doing.
I don't know if roasting's the right word. I was kind of encouraging.
This pose, man, is it good?
I mean, it's pretty good.
I kind of miss this lens. Damn.
Too bad.
I might
It's
buy it
mine
back.
now. Its appearance?
On what?
Huh, on nothing. We're shooting.
My lawyer, my JRS worker don't see that be right.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody.
Alright, my man.
Have a good one. Do you see him just leave me hanging?
Like dabs, you know, like that's what Andy did, and this guy's just like, yeah, man, all right, later. Switch lenses because I don't have that many lenses, so I'm gonna shoot this a 15 to 35. I'm gonna shoot 15, 20, 24, 28, and 35, and do a comparison at the end of this with all of the images from 15 to 200, which is gonna be the end. Does size matter? Lens size. Jesus. God. Golly. Shooting at 200, this is how far away we are from our subject. And originally, I was probably, how close was I to you? Like right there? Like when we shot with this lens, I was about as close as you can get. I was about here to her head. And you'll see that I still cropped in everything that we had, being about this close with the 15 mil and then 200 mil, just to get the same shot. I have to be about, I don't know, what's that? It's way over there.
way
You gotta be way over
It's
there.
way over there.
There's no scientific approach to that one.
Oh, that looks so sick.
That's like the end. But I will take like this one image and I'll play through the whole thing with this cropping. So I just want to take one of each, but they look substantially different when you get closer. It's really interesting to see more of the bridge versus none
Also
of the bridge
because
at
you
all.
were so far away, but the picture's so close.
I know, right? Like here?
Bonkers.
Fucking bonkers.
Bonkers.
Andy, that's my nose.
10 out of 10 as usual.
Or as it was quoted today, pound cake is what I have specifically.
And the only, but there's no fans. That's
Yeah, if there's no fans in the background, I can't
It's
see.
not really worth it if there's no fans.
If you had to pick one lens to cover everything, I would go with a 24 to 70 millimeter. And if you can get an f-stop that's a 2.8 throughout the whole camera lens, that's probably the best thing that you can buy. But if you had to pick one lens, this covers everything from having a wide shot to doing anything with lifestyle to doing close-ups and headshots.
Another successful photo shoot in the books. I had a really good time making this video. Thank you for watching till the end. If you haven't subscribed, I'm putting out a video every week. We're gonna go into some of the marketing later in the year, but right now we're talking about camera gear, how to make content, and some of the basics that you might not know. Huge thanks to everybody that's watching these videos. I truly appreciate it. Like and comment something so I can learn what to do better next time and what you guys might wanna see in the future. God, I still haven't thought of a good outro. I made that cool little intro with the song and but I guess I'm just gonna have these black bars come in again and just boop, and then I'm gone, and yeah, I don't know, guys. All right, I'll see you later.